Hi guys, and welcome back to Arsenal Army. So I'm here after we've just beaten Man United 1-0 at Old Trafford. And to sum up that game, in my opinion, we were very lackluster. And it wasn't the best performance of the season, nowhere near at our best at all. However, we got the 3 points, and that is the most important thing at the run-up to the end of the season. We've got one more game, and we have to put pressure on Man City and hope that they just drop a few points. So I'm just going to sum up the player performances and talk about the player ratings. So starting at the back with Raya, not one of his best games. Looked a bit nervy coming for some crosses, dropped a few of them. But distribution-wise, looked very good. Picked his passes at the right time. So he'll get a 6 from me. Then on to my man of the match, and I'm pretty sure a lot of our man of the match is Saliba. He looked very composed today, one of his best games he's had. Dealt with Garnacho really well with that beautiful tackle, and also Højlund decided to stick to him, which I think is a pretty silly decision from Højlund. But what can we do? It's for the best because Saliba had his best game, I believe, in a while. So he'll get an 8, like I said. I've read somewhere that now he's got man of the match, in the Old Trafford, Anfield, and also the Etihad. So that's our young centre back showing and shining. Moving on to Gabriel, I wouldn't say slightly worse, but not as impressive as Saliba. Saliba was just unreal. Dealt with Højlund well when he came up against him. Didn't really get targeted by Højlund as much as Saliba, which fair enough. But he'll get 7. Did nothing really wrong for me to underrate him. Then with our fullbacks, starting with Tomiyasu, I think he had a very solid game defensively. Dealt with Diallo very well, which I didn't expect even Diallo to start, but he looked on it today, Diallo. So it's only compliments knowing that Tomiyasu dealt with him well. I mean, it lacked concentration a few times in the game. Nearly let Antony through on goal, but we're lucky Antony's shit, so it's all right. Then on to Ben White, gets a 6 as well. Didn't attack as much as we want him to, but again, that's with the rhythm of the game. It wasn't the kind of game for him to get forward, in my opinion. We didn't really have control of the game too well, so the times he had to defend, I think he dealt with Garnacho well at times. Of course, he let Garnacho get past him a few times, which, okay, it didn't look too great at the time, but thinking about it, dealt with him very well, so also a 6. With our midfield, if we're being honest, it wasn't the best of performances from them. Starting with Partey, weird performance. We're not used to that from him. Didn't look at his best at all today. I don't think it was a wrong decision to start him because I feel like the games he has started recently, he's looked very solid. But today just wasn't there. Very sloppy with the ball. Again, as a defensive midfielder, does well with breaking down play, but just the distribution from him today wasn't great. So a 5. Then Reiss, not too involved, to be honest with you, like he normally is. Normally drives with that ball a lot more. But again, just a run of play today, we weren't in control in that midfield. So, I mean, you'll get a 6. It was sloppy in that first half. Gave them a chance, but it kind of fixed up after that. Then with Ødegaard, I've left you with that clip in the bottom right-hand corner of him dropping Amrabat. I think that's the funniest part of today. But to be honest, not really in the game as much as we're used to him being. Didn't really get to show his quality as much as we'd like to see. When he obviously did have the ball, you could see what he can do. But again, not the best of days, so he also gets a 6. With the attack, starting with Trossard, got that very crucial goal. And that is mainly the reason why he's getting a 7. Obviously, didn't do too much in that game, was kept kind of quiet. But that goal was crucial in that game, obviously winning 1-0. So you can't really underrate him. He got a 7 from me. With Saka, had some very bright moments at the beginning of the game, looked very dangerous, then just dropped off. I thought he was sloppy at times, didn't really create anything, and also did get injured at the end of the game. You could see he was limping again, but this time he did come off, which is quite big for him. We never see him come off the pitch injured. He always limps and carries on. So it is worrying, but we've got one more game left in this season. I'm sure even if he isn't fit enough to play, we'll be fine with Jesus starting at that right wing position against Wolves. But yeah, not the best of days from Saka, so he gets a 6. And Havertz, a man that impressed me again. Obviously, didn't score, but created another goal, got an assist. And he done very well with that assist. Also, looked like he was willing to play the hold-up role this game, which is very impressive. When we first bought him, a lot of criticism came that he was too weak to hold up the ball. Being a 6'4", I believe, man, and not being able to hold up the ball is not what you want. But again, he showed that he can play that role. I think he's crucial in parts of the game. You see when we're under pressure, where he can take kind of that pressure off of us by holding that ball up and playing it out to our wingers. So it's always nice to see that he's improving in his game, and he's definitely the most improved player in our team this year. So he gets a 7 from me. Then on to the subs that had long enough to show something. Gabriel, Martinelli, we'll start with. Probably the most impressive cameo I've seen from him from a while. Looked like his old self in a way, making positive runs. It was all good. Like, I don't know, I'd say he should have scored in a way, but I suppose Onana made a decent save. But I'm hoping that we see him back to his best, because when he is at his best, he is very, very good. He's one of the most exciting players we have, and it's been a shame towards the end of this season that he hasn't looked great. So I'm hoping maybe he starts against Wolves and he shows what he has, or even next season he just bucks his ideas up and is back to his best. Then with Gabriel Jesus, he didn't really have long. He had eight or so minutes, maybe 10. But you can see his positive play. Made one little mistake kicking the ball off the pitch at one point when we were soaking up the pressure. But apart from that, held up that ball well. Kiwior and Jorginho didn't really have enough time for me to say anything about them. But it's another win to round it up. And we're putting that pressure on Man City, and I'm sure that we are all Tottenham supporters going into the Tottenham Man City game. And come on, you Spurs, I suppose. That's the only time you'll hear me say that, I believe. But I hope you guys enjoyed watching it, and give it a like, give it a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.